recording in the wonderful land of my landlady's living room because she's watching a movie.
Yep.
So,
It's been a week later, and we made sure to put on the same clothing for this spoiler version.
And have exactly the same lighting.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the spoiler version of Solo. So if you haven't seen Solo yet, please turn this off, go watch the movie, run on back to your computer, turn it back on, and
hopefully not forget
go.
about us. Yeah. And maybe Molly will invade the video again.
So,
okay.
Previously on Solo.
Well, this movie was really something. God damn it! Why is my eye irritating? Okay, so yes, this movie was wow. Okay, so in the trailers, the I know you probably didn't see the trailer because you don't like trailers, but the trailer just showed all these amazing things, like even a point where the Millennium Falcon was flying through space and avoiding a tentacle, and wow, that did not disappoint.
So, going through it. Previously, you definitely love this film.
Oh yeah, no, this is everything I was hoping it would be. It did not disappoint. I also like that it was a true crime film. In like how in crime movies people don't always come out the other end, and that's what happened in this one. Like it was a heist film. Everybody was a criminal or had aspirations to be one. And it was, well, let's just say there are three main characters in this movie that are going to make it out alive. And everybody else is kind of on the table.
Right.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But, well.
No, and I definitely get that. And it's like, from the setup, you definitely start his story as just kind of as a petty thief, as somebody that's trying to get by in a really crappy world. And it's like you definitely see like the progression of like how this character advances.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because this is a new Han Solo, new history for him that's completely divorced from the original canon, and he comes up through life a different way, ends up in space a different way. Like all the major events are there, but
it just kind of
it
really kind of reshuffles and it almost makes it kind of a like alternate universe.
No,
because
the old canon is the alternate universe. There is one interesting point though. So in all forms of the story, Han Solo meets Chewbacca, right? And he rescues Chewbacca, and that's how they become friends. And Chewbacca is supposed to have a life debt to Han Solo because Han Solo saved him, and that's why they stick together. And maybe that's what's going on here, but they never say it.
I did find it interesting that. During the initial meeting with Chewbacca, they used subtitles, and then
for Han only.
For Han, but yeah, it was just interesting that they did that, and then it just kind of petered off.
Well, because you never needed it before.
Then why even have it?
Well, because you can't have people going and another person going and it go back and forth like that, and I mean, it's kind of like Chewbacca's the original Groot. Like Groot is basically Groot works because we know that Chewbacca
So are
works.
you saying that Han Solo in junior high took a year of Groot? Of Wookiee?
Of Wookiee, well, he must have because he knew a little Wookiee. And boy, was it just a little,
Yeah. I mean, where is the toilet?
What did you say about my mother?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. But so what's interesting though is he actually saved Chewbacca's life twice in the movie. There was a part where he rescues him from the Imperial camp, and Lord knows what was going to happen to him, but he could very well Chewbacca was basically being treated like
a dumb beast, as a rancor.
Well, yeah, let the rest what I was looking for.
Right,
and I mean rancor, but he was basically the rancor.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was obviously they didn't have a big monster, but they obviously had something that I could see that they felt like was just a monstrous race, a being that was obviously not human, so it wasn't intelligent.
Yeah, screw 'em.
And, let's not feed it for 3 days and let's see what happens.
Well, they know he's intelligent. They just don't give a shit because it's humans. Like the Galactic Empire is pro-human.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely felt like they did not think that a lot of the other races were intelligent except for humans,
or had a right to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, moving on. Then there's the train heist, and Han definitely saved Chewie during the train sequence, and there were I think at that point on they were pretty much joined at the hip, best buds, and though it's interesting. So in the original canon, Chewie was part of a spacing guild because the Wookiees had knowledge of ancient hyperspace lanes, right? And supposedly the reason why Han was so good as a pilot was not because he was a good pilot, but because he had a good first mate who had knowledge of hyperspace lanes that the Empire didn't know. And that's why they could make the Kessel Run so quickly. And Chewie knew how to get past the black hole cluster in the original one. And then, of course, they then provide this knowledge to the Rebellion, which gives them a major advantage over the Empire. And there was none of that in this movie at all. It was something else altogether.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting new take. Mm-hmm. It was, kind of cherry picking some of the stuff that was definitely interesting out of the lore that they have already established, and then just kind of having somebody kind of go in and rewrite it.
Well, that's the thing.
Make it.
It is a new canon. They're building the universe out from their starting point, and the reasons why are, we don't need to debate that because we know why. So it's actually, the funny thing is, the whole reason why is because of Chewbacca. Because Chewbacca was killed in the expanded universe, yeah. and that was actually the prime reason why they wanted to why the decision was ultimately made was because they wanted Chewbacca, because he is such a fan favorite character.
No, and I get that, and I mean that is that kind of level of changing a story based off of fans or the people that does that make it better for the story, or does that basically neuter or hinder it?
Well, in this case, it certainly didn't hurt it. This new movie was great, but I think we need to dissect it a little bit more. So we have a lot of new characters came into the movie. We have this Woody Harrelson is basically the main villain. The rogue character. I wouldn't ever call him a villain, but he was definitely a
person of opportunity.
Out for himself. And he also had a woman with him who was his wife, I guess. They don't really say what their relationship was, but they were definitely together. And she was noteworthy for having been in the first season of Westworld. She was the madam. And then she pretty much bites it right away, but her death
during the train scene, yeah.
Yeah, but her death is pretty much the impetus, which it's so essential to the plot. I don't think the movie could have happened the way it
definitely
did with her around.
It's quite a catalyst reaction, basically, of having that equal into the next parts of the film. Mm-hmm. And I definitely do.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, a little Wookiee there.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it definitely helps within the film itself.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, too, because, so you have... What you have is this story where Han Solo comes along, right? And he wants to get his own ship. He doesn't necessarily have aspirations to be a smuggler or any of these other things. He doesn't want to be a criminal. He just wants
his biggest thing is being a pilot and also rescuing...
his girlfriend. Who's Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones. And... So he thinks that she's going to be there waiting for him.
I definitely did like on the part of him signing up to the Empire, actually.
Well, that was actually part of the original canon. Was that?
Oh, that's probably why I like it.
Yeah. That he will see.
But I like that kind of motivation of like these are the things that basically motivate the characters, and this is kind of like, it's obviously a bad situation. The way that Han Solo gets his name of, here's this Imperial officer saying like, who are you? Who's your people? Who's your
family?
Like your surname? Who are you as a individual?
That's a major change because originally the Solo family was a family that already existed.
Yeah,
and he basically is the first person with that name.
I mean, I have to say it's like I did like that aspect. I thought it was kind of like a neat little shoe-in that they added in.
It was a fun idea.
It was a fun idea. I mean, obviously it changes part of the character, but it wasn't a bad change. But the point within that is like he wanted to be a pilot because it's like that was that level of get off of this crappy world, get onto something better. Save the girlfriend, and really about freedom. Not being under somebody else's scrutiny, thumb, or control like the Empire does. And
but then. Okay, so in the original story, in the original history, he had basically joined the Imperial Academy because that's what you did, and he flunked out or whatever, right? And supposedly, the pants he was wearing were kind of like in the original Star Wars were kind of Imperial pants, like kind of a reflection of like that part of his history. But got my nose, why don't I keep itching? But anyways, so the thing is that. How he ended up, like he basically the way he got away was by joining like he wasn't going to he was basically going to fail to escape, and he had to join the Imperial Academy. And then we meet him 3 years later, and it is like he definitely it still honors what happened before, because he basically was mouthing off or something and couldn't toe the line, didn't qualify to be an officer or whatever, and now now you're infantry, and they throw him into the infantry, and he's
right. And I thought that was a really neat kind of progression of his level of a want to be independent obviously had its flaw.
Yeah.
That that kind of idea of going to serve the Empire, I'm going to be basically a brainless soldier and don't question anything, and I'm going to follow suit, obviously backfired because he mouthed off.
I think he might have thought he was going to get to be an officer, and he didn't. But then he ends up meeting Woody Harrelson and his crew, who are pretending to be soldiers. Easily figures out that they're not. Manages to get away and desert by joining their crew and gets Chewbacca involved. So now we've got this whole, this team together on a heist, and it's interesting because as things go along, you basically have a young guy that wants to become this thing, and in the course of the adventure, he gets to be what he wants because there's nobody left above him. And at the end of the movie, he's basically the last man standing, and he gets the ship he wants. He's got his first mate, who's awesome. He gets to go on his adventure, and he is on his way to being the Han Solo that we all loved.
Yeah, and it's definitely an interesting progression of, it's almost, a lot of people had to have a really bad day so that he was able to actually succeed at the end.
I'll tell you, those people were already having a bad day. And he just got. If he hadn't been there, it would have been a worse day, for sure.
Right. The level of negotiation, the level of just kind of opening up his mouth.
Yeah.
Where, was told on multiple occasions, basically, don't improvise, don't look at people, don't do stuff, don't be you. Basically, was
improvisation is what Han Solo does best. And that's exactly what happened. And it's interesting too, because I love the technology and design of the world, because we meet this guy who's
I gotta say that was actually one thing that I really liked was his spaceship. His
I was about to say the Crime Lord spaceship.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I don't know if you caught it, but that was in a very Art Deco style.
Well, did you also notice who was playing the Crime Lord? Paul Bettany.
Yeah, I thought that was definitely quite
The
interesting.
Vision from the Avengers, and also Jarvis, the AI. So we basically find out right away that this guy's like a nasty, piece of work. You do not cross him. But he's one of those people that if it weren't for his position, he would just be a thug, right?
Yeah.
And I love the design of the ship because it's really tall, right? It actually looks kind of like the front end of a hammerhead, but just way bigger. And you get in down below where it
Oh,
lands,
it was almost like a floating cathedral or something out of.
or a casino or something. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you catch this because there's obviously ship, but then you catch an elevator, and the top is this whole area where he entertains guests, and it looks like its whole lounge and and
I definitely
and
liked
then he has
his.
private quarters where he meets, talks with people, and does business.
Or as the opening of when you first see him, he kills the. What was it?
It was an imperial governor who was clearly dealing under the table, and it didn't work out for him. But I love how he does this thing where he knows that Woody Harrelson's Beckett, the character Beckett, how his wife died. We're just gonna call it wife. We don't know, but I mean, yeah, whatever. So she dies, and he's like, oh wow, I'm so sorry, that oh shoot, Molly, hold on.
Oh,
Sorry, the dog.
nothing like dealing with a dog.
Yep. So
Um,
anyhow, yeah. So she invaded again. So yeah. So he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I think in some regards, like he did appreciate that she died, right?
No,
And may have been sorry for her, but it's like,
th-
it's business, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I have to say, it's like as a villain, it was quite interesting where there was a level of, there was a very human level to him, but at the same time, like you exactly
Yeah.
said,
Do not cross me.
he was very much about business. It's like, okay, yeah, I feel very sorry about what happened,
Yeah.
but you obviously screwed up.
Yeah.
Like if I show this level of mercy of like letting you live,
Totally.
letting you basically, stiff me from not getting what you were supposed to, what does that do for my reputation?
Oh yeah. No.
How does that basically say like,
I'm not
oh,
even.
just walk all over me?
I'm not even sure he's even to that degree. It's like, well, you failed, so there's, it's time to take your
Well,
medicine. Like this guy
no,
was a psycho.
Did you not notice that he actually said that the person that he was working for?
Oh no, I
Yeah.
get it, but I think this character was a psycho with layers of characterization that was well executed. He didn't just feel like, oh, well, I'm a monster, I'm just gonna kill you now. But
Yeah.
he was clearly like, I mean, at the bottom of the day, the guy is a psycho, and it's like, hey man, I'm gonna kill you now. Good for me. But he clearly liked what he was doing, you know. But it didn't come off just like a cookie cutter psycho. I mean, it was a layered character, but then later on, when Han Solo tries to basically be the good guy, and then he pulls the same line Han Solo. It's like, oh well, Beckett died. Well, he really didn't, but I mean, it's like, oh well, I'm so sorry, and he like shows him compassion, but you know what's coming because he already pulled that BS on in at the beginning of the movie as well, and you know, but yeah, but really, and good character, and it's one of those guys where when he finally gets off, you're like, yeah. Um, so there is a twist, but well, there's a big reveal at the end, which we're definitely not going to spoil. But I do like what happens with Emilia Clarke's character, and the point when again, we're not going to say what happens, but there's a point where Han Solo is going to see her for the last time, maybe, and but it's her final scenes in the movie, and she's saying, "No, you need to go now," and I'll
I'll
be
be
right.
right behind you.
Yeah, she's not, and she's not, and I think that's the point where Han Solo basically realized the the innocence was gone in him. Like that's the point when he was killed, and you definitely see this transformation in a character who initially just wants to get away and travel the space lanes and have his fun life, and then by the end of the movie, he's become Han Solo, where okay, I'm a smuggler, I'm this and I'm that, and I know, like that is like I'm going to be that guy now. And instead of just, he could have just flown away, but no, because he heard about, some gangster on Tatooine who's putting a crew together, and he's going to go work for that guy, and it's going to be fine, you know.
Yeah,
And it won't be. Well, it won't be fine for a job for the gangster,
mm-hmm.
but
but don't worry, that's like years and years.
Oh
and
yeah,
years
no, you
and
don't
years
need to worry about that. That's spoilers. Anyways,
right. But I gotta say, it's like one of the characters that I really liked out of this film was the guy that played Lando.
Yeah, okay,
I felt like he was really spot on.
Donald Glover, right? I don't have it up. I believe it's Donald Glover. I know that he had lunch with Billy D. Williams, and it's kind of funny because at the premiere they were interviewing Billy D. and he's not Billy D. Williams anymore. He is, elder statesman Billy D. Williams, and he doesn't sound like a young man, but you can tell that Donald Glover was studying the hell out of that performance, and he even with the first time you hear him talk, you think it's Billy D. Williams talking because he goes out of his way to change his speech patterns so he sounds like Billy D. Williams, and I can only imagine what they must have the lunch they must have had,
Yeah, but I mean, it's like
the advice he was given on
how
to play the character.
I feel like that's one of the reasons why I really do like his performance is that he took an established character and not only like gave that love letter to the fans of like, okay, I'm going to honor and respect this part of this story, this mythos.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to own it myself.
Oh yeah, he owned it. Now,
and it's like I felt like he really owned it more than the guy that played Solo. Now, I mean, he did all right, but I felt like Lando. It's like, dude, I can't wait until he has his own movie.
Well, interesting thing. So I saw a clip at the premiere where they were talking to Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Han Solo, and he apparently did go out to lunch with Harrison Ford, right?
Oh, that must have been a grumpy situation.
Well, apparently, what he said was that Harrison Ford told him to lie to everybody and say that Harrison Ford gave him advice on how to play the character.
Yeah.
And all he actually did was they just had a lunch and talked. But what's interesting is apparently in the production of the film, George Lucas was involved as a creative consultant, involved with it, and he actually they didn't say which scene it was, but he basically had a scene where he says this is actually what Han Solo would do, and he would know, right, because it's his character, and they actually liked his suggestion so much more and used it. So it's like George Lucas was got to be involved, but the way he should be involved, where it's like other people's voices are there.
And that's definitely a statement onto itself, because it's like if you take a look at the various properties, you've got like the holiday special, and that was
I don't think Lucas had anything to do with that.
No, he did.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I mean, like as much as 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Because I mean, originally he was going to have Chewbacca and family be within the additional films. Then that changed. Just
recently, there was actually a How It Should Have Ended for the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is interesting. Apparently, there's like a 10-minute sequence where it's just Wookiees going at it. You don't know what they're saying. So back to this movie, though. There were lots of Wookiees in the movie. I love it. And I have this feeling that we're going to be having to end the video soon. But, okay, so... we're talking about everything and nothing at all. So,
right. So let's go with so art and production. I felt like this was pretty spot on. I love the use of color, the way that the design.
The quality of this movie is equal to Rogue One. Like Rogue One was, whether you liked the movie or not, the movie was shot well. It was a brilliant piece of film, looked amazing. This was just as good. It's actually hard to believe that the new trilogy films are made by the same company. This is definitely the superior film. Oh, and you know what was also amazing about this movie? Not one Jedi in the whole damn film, and you never noticed. You were so, because like that's the thing is the Star Wars formula. You got your droid, you got your alien, you've got you got your love interest, you've got your your Force users, you've got the protocol droid and the the astromech droid. All these little things that you have. Like every Star Wars movie has the same formula and the same kind of mix of characters. There were no Force users in this movie, and you did not notice and you did not care because you're so along for the ride that you didn't miss it.
No Force users.
Well, there was one Force user in the movie, but
it wasn't using the Force.
Oh.
Spoiler.
Oh, yeah. Well,
anyway,
I haven't spoiled anything because nobody knows. Like they're going to find out at the end of the movie.
Right.
God, I hope there wasn't an after credits scene because we didn't wait. I don't think there was one. I'm going to be pissed if there was an after credits and I missed it. So, yeah, this okay. So like the anthology films. That's where it's at. Like those like, I don't know how they're gonna save the new trilogy because it's just not cutting it. I mean, I'm gonna go see it obviously for episode 9, but Rogue One and Solo are just freaking amazing movies. Well crafted, just great stories. I cannot wait for Boba Fett. I cannot wait for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I think all those movies could very well. I don't know. Obi-Wan Kenobi should there shouldn't be more. Like they should just have one movie and call it good because I just cannot imagine. Like you can't just have this guy who's supposed to be guarding Luke Skywalker traveling the galaxy having crazy adventures. But like this movie definitely felt like it was setting up for more. And I know that Alden Ehrenreich has a 3-picture deal, and this it perfect. Like this would be I would love to see more of this, and I totally could see Boba Fett helming his own trilogy. In fact, it would not surprise me if they did a Boba Fett movie and then the two movies had a crossover, because you have to set up, like, it would be cool to set up the interaction between Boba Fett and Han Solo and how Han Solo knew who he was, later on.
No, I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And it will be definitely interesting if at one point if in the Boba Fett movie if he still has it, the helmet, and goes, "Dad!" and then plop.
That was in Toy Fair.
I know.
Yeah, okay, so, man, okay, I don't want to spoil who dies, like what happens to some of the characters too much, but I love how Han Solo shoots first. And at the end of the movie, when you're having the climactic standoff, the good and the bad and the ugly moment, and it's like the bad guy's about to do his thing, he's like, boom. He doesn't even wait. He just shoots the guy. It was just like, oh my God, it's amazing. And he keeps doing that. There's like, he there are various points in the movie he's like, I'm Han Solo, bitch. I love it. And you get to see how he gets his iconic gun.
Yeah.
And by the end, like, there was also concerns that the Millennium Falcon doesn't look like the Millennium Falcon, and by the end of the movie, it looks
you'll see it as
so looks like the Millennium Falcon. I mean, it's
and
like,
the way that they progressed to actually do it.
Yeah,
I felt like was story wise, it actually worked. It made sense. It didn't feel like I'm taking off my shoe and just like going to beat you over the head with it until you basically believe that it's going to happen this way.
Yeah, and the Millennium Falcon was so clean and perfect when Lando had it, and then by the end of the movie,
yeah, I mean,
so
it's like
messed up.
It's like giving having a super nice car and then giving it to that friend that it's like, yeah, you're gonna take it and take care of it, right? And then you find out that it like comes back and it looks like,
yes. Exactly.
What did you do? Try to find a way to park it upside down?
Well, we'll see. What's interesting is the ship is primed to be, the Millennium Falcon that we saw, later on, because it doesn't have quad laser turrets. It has a single laser blaster. Well, it loses
obviously.
It loses those. It loses the radar dish again.
Yeah.
And when Han Solo gets it, I don't know if we saw what it was like, how. Because Lando had to fix the ship,
right?
He didn't even wait for his cut. He's just like, I'm gone, right? And
I mean, perspective-wise, like that was a job that went so south that it was like,
he's probably
what,
the only smart person in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And
basically, it's like, what, at this point, I'm really not going to make anything out of this job.
Yeah.
And time to kick rocks and leave.
Yeah, exactly. He got his ship back. He's gone because apparently there's a point where like you meet Lando and it turns out his ship's impounded. He is the ultimate con artist in this movie.
Yeah.
But like you don't see the when they finally catch up with him again, and then the movie basically ends exactly where it needs to be, where Han getting the ship, right?
Right.
And so getting it from Lando, and you don't see what the condition was in, but he had to fix it. And it's going to get the quad laser turrets. It's going to get all that other stuff that Han hooked it up with.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the thing of like the reason of not actually showing it could be the simple fact of whatever movie number 2 is going to be.
Yeah,
maybe that's the reason of actually wanting to go to work with spoilers. Jabba the Hutt.
The gangster on Tatooine.
Right.
Well,
I think I could see them doing it where going to Tatooine and not actually being fixed and taking the job is what actually gets those equipment.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the next movie. We're going to start out, and the Millennium Falcon is going to be our Millennium Falcon, and he'll have already done it.
It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, he certainly won enough money in that last game.
Yeah,
So, about 30 minutes. I think we should.
Should we? Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts is this movie is awesome. It is literally one of the best Star Wars movies I've ever seen. It's like probably one of the best, just most fun movies I've ever seen. Like even if I was not a Star Wars fan, I would have loved this movie. This movie was fun in the same way that that The Fifth Element was fun. All the characters are charismatic, enjoyable to watch, a well-executed story from top to bottom. All the characters were charismatic. People behaved the way they should behave. Everything was believable. It was exactly what you wished that episode, that the last 2, trilogy films were.
As my final thoughts, gonna give it, like I said a week ago on the spoiler free. 12
parsecs.
12 parsecs out of 20.
Out of 20, you're right. I'm going to give it 5 space tentacles. No, this is a 5 out of 5.
No anime out of this, right?
No. This is a 5 out of 5 movie for me.
Well, I think that's good, and definitely thank you for watching.
Yeah, so if you like this video, like our content, please like it, share it, subscribe. You can check us out at conwaytheseries.com, also countermay.com, and thunderfrogtheseries.com. We do all kinds of cool comics, and there's links to all those on there. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/WoodyMakesComics. It allows us to keep producing fun content for you guys, both in the video category and in print. And I guess we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.